Hi, Jenny here. Have you ever been in the mood for pancakes and you find you just don't have the mix on hand? Well, today we are going to make our own homemade pancake mix. So let's get started. For the pancake mix, we are going to need 6 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 3 teaspoons baking powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then when you are going to make the pancakes, you will also need 2 eggs, 2 cups of buttermilk, 4 tablespoons of butter plus 1 extra stick, and then some toppings. To make the instant pancake mix, you will need some type of a large container that has a closed lid on it. We will mix all of our ingredients together and we can actually just shake the container up and then store it that way for future use. Because we don't need to use all of it right away. But as long as we're making the pancake mix, we'll go ahead and make a good enough batch that we will be able to use for the next couple months. So we're going to mix 6 cups of the flour in our container. As I talk, let's see if I can remember to count how many that's in there. That's 2. If I count it loud, I'll remember. Otherwise, when I'm talking and doing this, then I forget what number I'm on. I can multitask, but sometimes not like that. Alright, so 3. I was hoping to make this for New Year's Day, but we got to taking down our Christmas tree and Cassie was cleaning out her room so that we could get it painted. And we were just too busy. Alright, 4. This used to be a thing in our house when the kids were little. We would have pancakes like every Saturday morning. We had a griddle that we would put them all on. 5. And so my husband would get up and get all that ready while I kind of got the girls up and ready, and 6. Okay. And yeah, he would make us some chocolate chip pancakes. And the girls would eat it. So again, that was like, woo, we knew that there'd be something they would eat, start off the day right. It's awesome. All right, and we have our 2 tablespoons of sugar. We will do, I guess I'll work outside in. A tablespoon of salt. May seem like a lot, but again, this is just for the whole mixture, so. And then we'll do this. 1.5 teaspoons of the baking soda. You want to make sure that your baking soda is not older than 6 months, so that the activating ingredients will still work well to make your pancakes fluffy. This is a newer container, but it's all lumpy inside. Make sure I get that right. And 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Actually getting low on that one now. So again, make sure it's a nice even teaspoon. It's nice when they have those ledges in there, so when it's kind of a really full teaspoon, you just kind of make sure that scrape it off. And just the amount we need. I haven't had pancakes in a long time. I've done that where it's like, oh, I want some pancakes. I'm like, oh, I don't have the mix in the house. So, I'm like, oh, so be it. And I forgot, I found this recipe the other day and I was like, oh, yeah, we can do pancakes. Again, I was going to have them for New Year's Day, but that just didn't work out. All right, so now we're just going to shake that all up so it gets all really well mixed. All right, and there you have it, your instant pancake mix. So now we will go ahead and we'll use this mixture and we'll make some pancakes. To make our pancake batter, we are going to melt the 4 tablespoons of butter. I went ahead and cut them up into 1 tablespoon sections because I feel it melts a little bit easier that way. Otherwise, sometimes I found it like melts in the middle. It makes kind of like a hole and the ends are kind of solid. So I'll start with that. My microwave is kind of not as hot. I think I'll start with 20 seconds and we'll go from there. While the butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and separate the eggs. So we need the egg whites in one bowl that will mix with our buttermilk, and the egg yolks in another bowl that will end up mixing with the butter. Alright. I hope I did this right. I keep trying to remind myself which one the egg whites went in and which one the egg yolks went in. So, there's one. It's nice. The egg cracked nicely, that I can do that. Because you never also know if the shell is going to crack all over. Let's hope we don't crack the yolk. I've seen different methods of where you could use like a water bottle type thing and you suck out the egg yolks, and I'm like, but how do you clean that then? Alright, I gotta wash my hands. Let's check the butter. Where'd that stop? Oh, that looks pretty good. See that or not, granted it is a glass bowl, but if you can see, looks like there's a little bit of chunkiness in there, but most of it looks melted. So we'll just mix it around, stir it around. Usually the residual heat of what's already melted will help melt any chunks. Happens with butter, happens with chocolate chips. Anything else I heat after I do that? Like even regular food, right? You just stir it around and sometimes one area is warmer than the other. Alright, so we'll go ahead and we will pour that in our egg yolks. I was going to do the other way first, but. And then with our buttermilk. This is like a 1 pint container. It does say 2 servings, 1 cup is a serving, so this whole container is 2 cups, which is very nice. I like when I can use a whole container of something. And that way I don't have extras in the fridge where I go, gee, what am I going to do with this now? So hopefully the bowl I chose is large enough to hold all this. Looks good. Alright. So we'll take our whisk and we will whisk. Sure we will. The buttermilk and the egg whites together. That till it looks nice and all incorporated. Ultimately, this is all going to get mixed together in our flour mixture. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the same whisk. Maybe? Because it won't matter if I incorporate the whites and the yolks. Now mix our yolks and butter. Hopefully it's still on screen, yeah. Sometimes I forget how much counter can be seen with this camera, where I've got it placed. Alright. Now we'll get our flour mixture up. We are going to use 2 cups of the mixture, the instant pancake mixture that we just made. So we'll put 2 of those in, again, a large bowl here. And then We'll pour our wet ingredients in and mix that all up. So if you're using 2 cups per time that you're doing this, 2, 4, 6, so you can do this 3 times. You can have pancakes 3 different days. All right, so we have that. Dun, dun, dun. All right, good enough. I'm going to start by pouring this into the buttermilk and mix that up well. So again, these wet ingredients are well incorporated together. So that when we mix them in the dry ingredients, again, they will be all well mixed, as opposed to one ingredient kind of maybe being left out, or a clump of one ingredient somewhere. It's kind of that looks pretty good. All right, and we'll take this and pour it in here. At least this isn't too noisy. I could probably use a spatula to get it all out, but again, that's kind of a running joke on my channel, at least for my family and me, that one of the videos I made way in the beginning, in fact I think it was my 3 Musketeers video, so it's one of my more popular ones, that most of my comments on there is, why doesn't she use a spatula? It was for using Cool Whip. I was getting Cool Whip out of a container. I was using a spoon. I'm like, well, you know, I don't know, when I put Cool Whip on my strawberries or on my ice cream or whatever I'd be using Cool Whip on, my pies, I use a spoon. I don't use a spatula. So in making my recipe, I didn't think about using a spatula. I use a spoon. Oh, it's all right. Gotta laugh. Gotta laugh at about stuff like that. That's what happens. You're on the internet, you put stuff out, different people do things different ways. In fact, anything in life, right? Loading the dishwasher, you have your way, and your, you know, husband, wife, partner, and, you know, somebody else does it a different way. It's like we were just painting Cassie's room, and we were doing taping. And I was taping off one way where I was just using the whole roll, and I started at the top and I kept unrolling tape, and I tape it, you know, press it down, and then I unroll some more and I press it down, and then my husband's like, yeah, that's not the way I told Cassie. Yeah, here, you could do some taping. And so he tells her, yeah, the way Mom does it isn't right. You do it this way. Tear off a little strip that's, you know, 2 feet long, and then put it on there, and tear off another strip and then put it on there. Like, well, either way, both the ways work. It's just a matter of preference. So whatever works for you is the right way. All right, there are still going to be some lumps in here, and that's okay. So as long as it's well mixed, you don't have any dryness in there. Same thing, we don't need to over mix it, but we can now take it to, if you have a griddle, use a griddle. I'm going to use the stove. My griddle went kaput, so I will cook these in a pan on the stove. Go ahead and heat up your pan or your grill. So I'm going to go on a medium high heat. So usually for me between 3 and 4 for the first pancake. I know normally the first ones are kind of not as pretty, not as good as the rest, as the pan is heating up and all that good stuff. And then usually I have to turn down the heat because then it gets to be too high. They're cooking either too fast or... So we'll go ahead. We have that going. I have a little bowl of water here, at least for the first, to make sure when you know that the pan is ready, sprinkle a little drop of water on there, and when it's dancing on the surface, then you know that the pan is warm enough. So, not yet. And then, because we used 4 tablespoons of butter that we heated up, I do have another half a stick of butter. I'm going to start with this one. I know the recipe called for another full stick of butter, and you're supposed to use this to butter the pan. We'll see if I need any more. I'm going to start with this half stick though. Again, use this up and go from there. So you can go ahead and either unwrap it just a little bit so you have something to grab onto. Again, if you don't mind your fingers getting buttery, you can unwrap the whole thing. Maybe I'll try just a little bit. And then have your toppings ready of what you would like to put on your pancakes. As I mentioned, I usually like to have chocolate chips. In reality, I prefer mini chocolate chips. It just seems it gets to be more of a smattering all over the pancake, as opposed to sometimes the big chocolate chips are just kind of one here and there. But my daughter ate up all the mini chocolate chips, so hear that sizzle? Alright, so that says the pan is hot enough. So we will take the butter. Maybe I'll do a second one and I'll show you up close. For the first one, singles it'll be like whatever anyways. We're going to go ahead and butter the pan. And then, I'm going to turn that heat down right away anyways. Paper towel, and we're going to wipe off the butter. You don't want any visible butter on the pan, but that should still be enough to grease the pan. A lot of butter. I guess I just need to go around like once. Excellent. Alright. And then I have a ladle. So we're just going to ladle. It's usually about 1/4 cup-ish or so. And again, because of the pan that I'm using, I'm just going to do one at a time. If you have a griddle, you can always do a couple of them at a time. And if you have a bigger skittle, you can make a couple pancakes at a time. Which I've done before, but we will work on just one. And at this point in time is when you would add your toppings. So we'll go for some blueberries now. I didn't think about that. I should have picked out some smaller ones. These are nice and big, which is nice, but when they're going to be cooked. So we'll put a smattering of those around. Oh, that looks pretty good. We'll do one more. And now you wait for the edges to turn a little bit brown. And usually you can see some bubbles popping through the batter. And that's when you'll know that it's time to flip. Usually about 2 to 3 minutes. So also while you're watching, you can take your spatula and lift up and check and make sure what it's looking like. If it's looking brown enough to your taste, then go ahead and flip it at that time. And then obviously we'll cook it a little bit more. Cook it through the second side and then have your platter ready, your plate, whatever you want to put them on. If you're making them for a group, you could go ahead and warm up your oven to about 200 degrees. Have like a cookie sheet or whatever, a little bit of a moist towel. Put that on there so you can put your pancakes maybe on a plate in there, and then kind of cover it with a towel so that they stay warm until the point in time when everybody's going to be eating. Usually when we make them, it's a matter of, we just eat as they come off the griddle. So, of course, the cook is then last to eat. But, let's see, I'm seeing a hole or two, but see if I can check the bottom. It's the only thing about a smaller pan. And of course, where I put it. But I'm smelling it. Yep, that is brown. We'll flip her over. You can see that that's a little bit brown. So a little bit of bubbles. Like I said, I'll bring you in close for the second round when we do that. But so same again, pay attention to the clock. And or sometimes you can smell it. I could smell that it was almost like I say, like a little bit of a nutty smell. You can smell that it's cooked. Smell that pancake smell. So yeah. So between the smell or timing it, like I said, no, again, it should go for about that minute, 2 minutes. So obviously on this side it's not going to bubble through because it's already cooked. But yeah, depending on how many pancakes somebody would want, get them again right hot off the grill. Add your other toppings on there if you want extra butter, if you want syrup. Put a couple extra blueberries on there. How are we doing? I think that's pretty good. Seems like almost a minute, but there's the back side. So she's nice and cooked. The other side looks prettier though, so we'll leave that side up. And then we go ahead and start the process all over. So I'm just going to turn that down just a tad, and I'll bring you over for the whole next pancake. The pancakes made with the Instant Pancake mix are finished. They look good, they smell good. I ended up making 9 pancakes. The recipe called, it said it made about 12. So I guess depending on how big you make your pancakes, you'll have between, like 9 and 12-ish. Also, that half a stick of butter was more than enough butter for greasing the pan, at least for me. I only used about 2 tablespoons worth. So there's that. Let's see how these taste. I kept wanting to bite into them, and I'm like, oh, I gotta film it. I can't just hurry up and eat. I was snacking on the blueberries all in between while finishing up making the rest of the pancakes. Say the cookies last, right? Here we go. Oh, this is a blueberry pancake. That's so good. Homemade pancakes. Ones you get in the restaurant are pretty good, but homemade pancakes. The blueberries are good. As I was snacking on them, like I said, they're fresh, they're sweet, they're just perfect. And so to have those blueberries in the pancake too, that was so good. And then I have a couple chocolate chip pancakes here too. So again, kind of my favorite, but I have some fruit here to go along with it. I have my cup of milk. Between that and, or if I was going to make a smoothie, but I'm like, all right, yeah, need a little bit of protein. I don't have bacon or sausage or anything, but I have my cup of almond milk. This is going to be a tasty breakfast. Let me know if you like to make pancakes, if you like to eat pancakes. What are your favorite toppings? Do you like the fruit ones? Do you like the chocolate chip? Bananas? When I was going out with my girlfriends and we were going to the Honeyberry Cafe, which was, well, granted they have lunches there too, but I would usually get breakfast when I was there, and I'd have waffles. Because again, I don't usually make waffles at home, but then I would have the bananas and walnuts, maybe a little powdered sugar on there, whatever. But for pancakes, again, usually kind of make them at home. Usually make them with the chocolate chips, depending on if I have the fruit. May have some fruit separate, but this is very delicious. I'm going to go enjoy my breakfast. I'll leave this recipe down below. And like I said, yeah, leave me comments about what you like on your pancakes. You guys, keep it positive. Go make it a great day. Bye-bye.